Hi everyone, welcome to Noodle Journey, where today I'll be reviewing the last, for now, of the 3 Japanese cup noodle flavors that Nissin has brought to America. This is Cup Noodle Original Flavor. So I started off way back in episode 11 reviewing the seafood cup noodle, which actually renewed my faith in cup noodles as a brand because that was really good. And then in the last video I tried the curry flavor, which was even more good. And so as of the time of this filming, this is the only other one of these cup noodle global favorites flavors that I haven't tried. Sure, there are plenty of Japanese exclusive cup noodle flavors out there, but they need to be imported and they aren't made in the USA like these. And so I will eventually have to just bite the bullet and order some from Japan if Nissin doesn't introduce more of these stateside soon. Now with all that being said, you might be wondering, what is original flavor? It's apparently the original cup noodle flavor that launched the product line in 1971, and it's supposed to be a salty soy broth with some dehydrated shrimp, egg, and meat. And while the packaging might have you think that this is the same recipe that Nissin used back in 1971, I'm sorry to say it is supposedly not. Not quite. This seems to be more of an homage. I learned that from a little research where I read about some people complaining that this doesn't taste like their childhood. I can't say for sure how the ingredients differ in this versus the actual original recipe from Japan, but the most glaring thing on this cup is no added MSG, likely so that this will appeal to all the American pearl clutchers who still think it is the 80s and that MSG is evil. Now, I can't say for sure that there is MSG in the original, and that's what's causing the taste discrepancy, but I wouldn't be surprised. As with the other 2 global favorite cup noodle varieties, you can probably find this at your local supermarket, Walmart, or Asian grocery store for somewhere in the neighborhood of $1.50 to $2.50, or online for about the same price per cup. Sometimes Amazon has these direct from Nissin for $12.99 for a 6-pack, which is how I got mine, since this is the only one that none of my local Walmarts carry. Let's check out the contents. Sodium is 1,550 milligrams, or 67% of your daily allowance. We've seen way worse, right? Opening this up, we've got some pretty sizable dried shrimp in here, some dehydrated egg yolk, and mystery meat. Let's talk about mystery meat real quick, since I mentioned it in the last video about the curry flavor. Nissin has totally embraced the term mystery meat as the official name for those little chunks of meat. That's actually what it's called now because that's what Nissin fans had called it for years. These pieces of freeze-dried meat-like substance have been around for a while in cup noodles products, and for a while Nissin played coy with what they are before recently coming clean about what they're made of. What they actually are is a combination of pork, soybeans, and some vegetable extract, which is then shaped and freeze-dried. I think that's pretty neat. I already know from the curry that they taste good, kind of like a mild sausage. So that's one good thing this cup has going for it. Okay, way too much talking, let me microwave this and eat. Okay, this just came out of the microwave after sitting for a minute, cooking for 2.5 minutes. You always want to stir this up to make sure that everything is well combined. Usual reminder applies, not every cup product goes in the microwave. This is a special microwavable foam that is microwave safe, but sometimes microwaving other cups will cause chemicals to enter your food, so always check the instructions so you don't get sick. This has a very umami shrimp smell to it. Pretty good. Okay. That should be enough stirring. Let's give this a try. Okay, I think I got a little bit of everything that's in here in various combinations. So let's talk about spice first. There is none. None at all. This is perfectly mild and inoffensive. 0 out of 10 on spice. The noodles are just your same old average Nissin cup noodles. They're nothing special, but they're not the worst you'll ever have. I've said before that Nissin's noodles are just a vehicle for the broth and dry ingredients, and that is pretty true here. The chew is medium, they're a little thin, they're a perfectly regular 5 out of 10. So speaking of the broth and dry ingredients, let's start with what I like about the overall flavor of this. The shrimp and the mystery meat mainly. The shrimp rehydrated very nicely and retained a good firm texture and shrimpy flavor. There's a little bit of shrimp flavor in the broth. That's pretty good. I know freeze-dried shrimp might turn some of you off, but this is perfectly fine, really. And then the mystery meat is a great pork taste with a good texture that feels just a little rich and fatty in a good way. I also like the little bit of texture from the egg yolk, but I did taste this on its own and it doesn't really taste like anything, just the broth. But now the downside. The broth is coming off as just a simple, no frills soy sauce with the tiniest bit of onion and shrimp flavor. I was spoiled by the crazy amount of flavor in Nissin Rao's soy sauce variety, and so it's a little disappointing to see that this isn't really anything special. Just very salty with very little nuance. I won't say it's bad because this is certainly a comfort flavor, but it is decidedly average. And you know what would have made it just a little bit tastier? Some friggin' MSG. Seriously. So yeah, this is just an okay broth married with some good dried ingredients, which definitely makes it my least favorite of the 3 global favorites. This is certainly a comfort food under the right circumstances, but I've had better. Without the shrimp and the meat, I would probably give this just a 5 out of 10, so those extras will bump this up to a 6 out of 10 for me. It's not bad, it's just not eye-opening either. If you're in the mood for a very simple, salty broth with shrimp and pork, then by all means, buy this. But compared with other soy sauce soups, and even the other cup noodles that we've had before, this is just a little disappointing for me. And so don't spring for a 6-pack unless you absolutely know this is what you're craving. If you're a fan of this, more power to you. But I'll be sticking with the seafood and curry cups only unless I can get my hands on the actual Japanese version of this to compare. Well, there's plenty more cup noodles out there to try, and so someday soon I'll get to a new one, and maybe that will be my new favorite. If you have one to recommend that I haven't reviewed yet, please let me know. Please also let me know if you like these back-to-back reviews and comparisons among similar products and product lines that I've been doing lately, or if you prefer I spread the reviews out a little more in favor of new and different things. I'd like to hear your opinions on that. As always, thank you for your continued views and support, and please like and subscribe to continue on this noodle journey with me.